Welcome to Film Study, an all American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi, and my guest co host is back. It's almost like you've always been.
We are not going to get through this without laughing, y'all. We're not. We're about to have a good time.
We're about to have a good time, and we're talking episode 2. I ain't going out like that. And so, okay, but so usually I'm like, what was your thoughts, overall thoughts, and we hop into recapping the episode. Before I do all that, I want to say this. Shout out to Mike and David. Yes, give them their props. Clap it up. But
clap it up. Yes.
But also, not too much on NK now. Not too much on NK. No, because, and I know how you feel about NK, but I'm saying this because I saw a ton of tweets that were just like, don't have her write anything anymore. And sometimes I feel like peeps be forgetting. Like, she gave us the hug of 201. She gave us the ending where he came back to go see Olivia. She gave us 301 and the beautiful angst that was. And so it's
she's good for that. She's good. She's also good for keeping them just staring at each other and not saying anything. Let's keep it real and funky. But she didn't give us
I mean, let me give Ig hair props real quick. I know you have your grievances,
deal, though.
But let me give Ig just 2 seconds to give Ig. This is I just want to say this, and then you can go. Is I don't think people understand how difficult it is to close out that storyline, and not only like those storylines that we saw in episode 1, and to do that in a way that makes sense, and like I said last week, right, could be just like a reset to fully go into season 4. Because and to mind you that they were doing these things that they had to break these stories together as a unit, because they do break stories as a unit. She gets the final say, but every single writer in that room has their hands in a script, every single episode. And or at least that's what the average writer's room does. And so, it's just hard because they had to finish out all of those storylines that were broken and that were executed over the pandemic. And I just think that's a tough thing to do. So not too much on her. Like, yes, people weren't pleased with last week's episode. I was not one of them because I thought it was just like good pushing stories forward. Yes, I do think this week's was a better episode, one of the better ones. But yeah, there's not too much on NK, and I just wanted to start out like that. Now you can say what you were going to say.
I'm going to let her have that because Lexi already know how I felt about last week's episode.
Right.
And you can follow me on Twitter if you want to know how I felt about that. But I will say this, though. NK started this episode too messy because she gave up Mike and David's info. She was like, go yell at them. I said, I'm here for the mess. I am so here for this, NK. We could do this all day.
That's what let me know that she was actually getting like a ton of responses about last week's episode. And like I said, it wasn't like I'm not going to say it was the best by any means. I don't think it was the best intro to a season that they've had. But, I don't think I don't think it was a completely down the drain episode. I thought it was an all right episode.
So I come from the scholarship world that if you go claim it, then you get your responses for it. And she claimed it going in.
It's true. You're right.
So she got the feedback for it. Because when I claim something that I present and I write, I have to take every feedback piece for it. And when I say, if we know what it was like on the timeline. So just imagine everybody.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying, is I'm like, I'm fine. I don't care if people didn't like the episode. That's fine, because it was jumpy. The flashbacks were a lot. I agree with all that. But for me, when people were just like, well, pack it up, NK, and never write another episode of television, I was just like, that's a little too far. She's still
Can she just not touch like my fictional baby sis, and she can do whatever else she wants to do? Like,
But she has touched your fictional baby sis to get her to a point where you enjoy her on your TV screen.
I'm gonna give her a little bit of that, not the full. I'm gonna give her a little bit.
And we'll keep it at that. See, you
We'll
said I'm
keep it
gonna
at
give her a
that.
little bit, and I give
I'll
her
give
a
her a
little
little bit.
bit, and that was my little intro rant, if you will, to start out the episode. Now, again, props to the power that has, the the implications that has, the cultural significance that has. And I'm talking about this episode because I'm gonna start off with my opinion. I thought it was very One Tree Hill reminiscent. It was serving teen drama, and I loved it.
See, I've never seen One Tree Hill, and so I know the characters of well, some of the characters of One Tree Hill. But so for me, it gave me teen drama because I've watched Dawson's Creek and
Hmm.
others, and it gave me teen drama, but it also gave me the lens of teen drama through black teen drama,
Right, right.
and I was so here for it. I was like, yes. It's like I need this. I need this. There's some pieces that I wish would have served a little bit more. We're gonna talk about that. But
Oh, same. Oh, same.
it was juicy at points, it was messy at points. It was like, what are y'all doing at points? Like it was everything for me. That yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah. I don't think there's been an episode of All American where I'm like completely just 1000% satisfied. Um,
I agree.
and that includes this episode, even though I adored
Mhm.
it.
I agree. Yep.
And we'll get into that. So anyway, we first start out, and let me just add this one last quick thing
Go
in there.
ahead.
So Carmen told me something,
What?
and I agreed with her. She said, and let me again, I agreed with her. She said, "Why is Monda reviewing this episode? Because she doesn't even like Spolivia."
Oh, if she don't stop it, I like the Olivia of Bolivia and the focus on Olivia in the synopsis. She better stop it. If that's the case, I shouldn't be watching the whole show or reviewing the whole show. If that's the case, if she don't stop it,
She said, "You're not going to be able to appreciate what we
how
saw on our screen."
am I not gonna be able to appreciate it? Why? Because I'm not falling all over Spencer every 2 seconds because he breaks something. Y'all better stop it. I go from my twin saying I don't deserve to review it to Haley calling me a Spolivian. So which one am I? I don't want.
Spolivia.
Yes, Haley literally tweeted it, and I quote tweeted it like, "How can I delete this tweet?" Like, so she called me Bolivian.
Delete the tweet.
Yes, I did. It's on Twitter. You can see it on my page. And so she calls me a Bolivian, and my twin says I don't appreciate him. So come on
Wow.
now, come on.
You said, "I'm tired of these games. I'm tired of these games."
Tired. Don't be labeling me because I'm not a group thinker and I'm Monda. Stop it. Stop it.
But anyway,
I
so
can't.
we start out this episode with Spolivia, and it was
Are we gonna start with
hot and
Olivia or
heavy.
Cooper Patience?
We're not starting with their storyline. We're just
Okay.
starting with that intro. Is that Mike and David gave us a
Yes.
hot and heavy intro.
Very much so. And we will come back to it. So don't think that we're not. Y'all know us.
Yeah,
We
we're
will
gonna
come
come
back.
back to it, but right now we're gonna fast forward a little bit and talk about Coop and Patience. And as we know, last episode, Patience seemed, like I said in the other episode, it seemed disconnected. And at first, I thought that was a choice
Uh-huh.
by Chelsea. But now, as I watched this episode, I was just like, I think that was in the script. And I'm gonna tell you why I think it was in the script is because this whole episode, you could just see the layers of doneness.
Oh yes, she's so done. She done.
The doneness that patients have. And so I was just like, here I am thinking that this was like a choice by Chelsea, and she pulled it off amazingly well. But I'm like, no, like this is in the script that Patience is sort of like at her wits end, and it just started in the last episode.
Yeah, my sister's like, you are moving on your own as if we're not a couple, and I am not
Right.
here for it.
Right. And how she did that is because they're sitting at a table, which, by the way, did we even get an answer to how much time had passed? I think we're just making
Yeah.
assumptions at this
No,
point.
it's
That's
been
been
two
like
to
a
three
good,
weeks. It's been
it's
two
been
to three
two to
weeks.
3 weeks. Right.
Yes.
But did they like say that in the episode?
Yes, Asher says it's been 3 weeks that he
Okay.
was since he heard. Yeah.
Okay,
About his
got it,
heart
got it, got it,
condition.
got it. So yeah, so it's been 3 weeks since Coop has gotten shot, which I don't like a lung injury. I don't know if she should be
She
like up and
shouldn't be
about
up
like
and
this.
moving like
She
she
should
is.
not be up moving
No,
like this
no.
in
But
the world.
okay, we got you.
So she's like texting across the table to pay like or Patience texted her and she like texts back across the tape. Like what was that about?
Because literally, her face was in her phone, and Patience could not get her attention. So Patience like, I'm gonna
Right.
text you then. How's your breakfast?
No,
'Cause
I know, and I thought that like the text was cute, but I'm like, why would she text back? Like, why would she text back? Of course, she wants you to actually talk to her,
Patience is better
but
than me. I
Coop is Coop. Coop
Coop
is
is
Coop.
Coop, and Patience got a lot of patience. Because
She
I'm
really does.
oh, she's a writer for real. She is such a writer, and I don't understand it because Coop does not deserve her. No,
Not at all. Well, and she's like saying some, ain't you gonna be late for school? And I'm like, Coop, now that you got a little GED, now you tripping?
very much so. And then
What are you
you gonna
talking
pop
about?
up,
Ain't you gonna be late for school?
and then you popping up on Patience like, yeah, I'm going into the studio to go see Layla, and Patience was like, did your
Right.
doctor clear that? Like, what's going on?
Right, right. So she basically what Patience goes through this whole thing is that she doesn't Coop's not talking to her. Like Coop's not being communicative. She just doesn't know what's going on in her life. She didn't know that she was going to meet Layla at the studio, which we'll get into it to a second. She's also, like we said at the end of last episode, she was just like, Coop got Coop shot because Coop is always in drama. And that brings us to the point that we finally get to see Patience's family in this
We
show.
got to see her dad, and he
Well,
was
yes, but I mean, like family. That's the only
right.
family we've seen.
Right, because I wanted some background about her. Like we knew she had a grandma, but I'm happy to see she has a father and a mom.
Yeah, yeah. And her father looked very much like I expect Patience's dad to look.
Me too. I was like, this is so Patience father.
It was very bohemian. It was very like, there's no judgment here.
Right.
Uh
But your girlfriend is moving fishy and we're done.
yeah, moving fishy. And I'm like, she's been moving fishy for years. Well, like on my screen in my timeline, it's been years. But as far as this
Same
show,
here.
she's been moving weird for about a year and a half. And so I don't know why y'all starting to say something now, or you're starting to say something now, because she's been involved in the gang from the jump.
I think her actually getting shot
Right.
and being in a coma like triggered her parents. Like, no, we do not want our daughter to be in danger because who knows what Coop can do next? Or because at that
Exactly.
time Coop was just supposed to be a rapper, right? She was supposed to be out
Right.
of the gang, and all of a sudden she got shot and she's about to die, and she's
Right.
in a coma. So I'm gonna be like, nope, my child will not be associated with that.
Right. Right. And so the whole their whole storyline is like them trying to figure out them, and by them I mean Patience trying to figure out where she's at and why Coop isn't being communicative. um Meanwhile, as she says, Coop goes to the studio. We already know that Layla has had a tough time as well, and
Yes.
it's actually interesting that they it was more in the subtext, I'll say, than the dialogue, that they have both just gone through these crazy things, and you could tell that Layla was kind of ticked off
Oh, she
at
was
Coop in the
like,
studio
yeah, she's like, you are wasting my time, my money, my
and
energy.
my money. I'm like, about time you said something, because this girl anyway.
Been wasting your time, your money, and energy for a very long time, but that's
Since
okay.
she told you that she was gonna side with you, since she created your label.
Cannot. I cannot.
But yeah, Coop can't even rap, and Layla chalks it up to like we're both just having an off day.
They both
Um,
were. Like I
yeah,
didn't understand why both of them were in the studio together.
yeah, because it
Instead of
was
going
rough.
just to like let's connect on a different level of like how are you doing
Exactly.
these
And this was like
people?
Layla's birthday at the time, which she wasn't happy about, but it's still like you're at the studio, it's your I guess you're trying to stay busy and stay
Mm-hmm.
distracted, but it was interesting. It was interesting, but yeah, both of them were having an off day for sure. Um and so that whole thing goes Coop's down about that. She ends up telling patients that her lungs are done. And like you said before, she's like, "Oh, how does this affect you? Blah 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 blah. How does me lying to the cops and confronting Mo and all of this
We're
blah blah
getting
blah
shot.
affect
Yeah.
you?" Exactly. And she's just like, "We're together, so of course it affects me."
Like,
Um,
hello, you're not by yourself, fool. You're in a partnership.
exactly, exactly. And so they just can. She, like I said, she tells her about her lungs. Um, and then they go to Layla's party, etc., etc. And she Patience sort of confides in Spencer about the lungs issue, and after talking to Asher, Coops like decides that she's done with music. She says like, "I'm done hoping, rapping, praying. The dream is dead.
Cannot.
Music is dead." Like,
I
what are
cannot.
you saying, bro? Like, I can't, man. And I was like, okay, I really wanted Patience to say, "And we dead too, Coop.
Like, we are
We
so
dead
done.
too."
But the reason why she probably didn't say that is because
And she didn't want to pile on, of course.
yeah, she didn't, and then and Spencer was also like, "We stand by her no matter what." Okay,
Yeah, I
Spencer, I
was
want.
like, for what?
How long are you gonna stand by her? Because Cooper's about to get into some other damage. She's about to do something else in her life.
And he's one to talk because they were not even friends for the majority of last season.
But yet, he gonna
Talking
stand
about we stand by her no matter what. Okay, you just got your friend back, sir. You need to calm down.
and don't have patience spinning her wheels when she can go ahead and take a breather on her own.
Right,
Mm-mm.
right. And so that remains to be seen. But like I said, it just seemed like Patience was just getting to higher and higher levels of doneness. And at the end of that, Coop moves in with Preach, which where was Coop even staying at this
Was
point?
she move? Did she move in with Preacher? Did she just go visit Preacher and his daughter?
I thought it was, I don't know. It seemed like a permanent thing because why would she call him and be all dramatic like that about just
Because,
going to visit? She doesn't care about, letting people know she's visiting.
but because two things, her and Patience ended on a funny note, and Patience left. And then two, when she called him, he said we agreed that we were not going to be near each other because of the situation with the cops.
Hmm.
So she called him because she wants to hang out and what was me with someone. But it's supposed to
Yeah,
be the person you're not supposed to be around because of what happened with Mo. Because he was even looking around like we agreed. It was best for
right,
us not to connect.
right. All that to say, I don't know what uh, Coop is doing because she's doing the most all the time.
How about I don't
Um,
care? But that's a whole nother issue.
facts, facts. And as I mentioned before, for the first time ever, the two most selfish people, right, shared alone time on screen together.
Yes, they did.
Because Asher is reeling with his. I honestly thought this was going to be a bigger storyline, and I'm happy that it wasn't. It was more so in the background. But Asher's reeling with figuring out that he still can't play football. He's gone to see doctors, etc., etc. Um, he goes to Montez, right?
Right.
She recommends a cardiologist for the Rams, which is like these men
They get
on this show
everything.
get everything the
Everything.
Rams
The
and
cardiologist from the Rams.
a
Everything.
cardiologist from the Rams. Well, the other thing I thought about this too was like, is the show eventually going to have something with the Rams? Because the cast has been visiting the
Yeah, they're
Rams
gonna
new
have something
stadium
with the
quite a lot.
Rams.
So I assume this is going to be something. So it's setting up something, but still, the men get everything. Except for Asher, the support of his mom, because she was not having any of it today.
She was like, "Listen, I already been through this with you. Why am I going to take you to another doctor? What are we
Right,
doing? What are we doing?"
right. Right. And he asked her to be hopeful for him, and she's like, no.
Her and
she
Montez had it out.
she had it out, and Montez doesn't play. You can play mom again. Ooh.
Where did she find that out? I was like, where'd she get the tea from? When did she get the tea?
Listen, Montez be getting the tea. That's all I'm gonna
She
say.
must have got it from Vanessa when Vanessa was
She
on the
probably
short
did get
line
it from
calling her.
Vanessa. That's true. She got it from Vanessa. I've decided.
Yeah, she got it from
Like, I
Vanessa.
make those decisions. I have decided she got it from Vanessa, so that's what happened.
Yeah, because you know we ain't gonna never find out. So let's just
Right,
assume it's
right,
Vanessa.
right. So we
Yeah.
assume it's Vanessa, and that makes the most sense. And like she gets him to go to this cardiologist. The cardiologist ends up telling him that his steroid use, right, is what caused this or triggered this heart problem, which is
Shocker.
genetic. Shocker. And I think this is setting up for a good storyline to know that like you do have consequences, because something that we've said is that Asher often faces no consequences. And
Mm-hmm.
so hopefully this is the journey to him figuring out. It didn't look great at the beginning when he was like looking for the alcohol and stuff at the bakers, and him and Coop were commiserating together. But like I said, hopefully this is his journey to like figuring out like I need to take responsibility and there has to be consequences for my actions.
Yeah, he's gonna take a brief responsibility so all of a half an episode, basically probably 20 minutes, and then some magical way they're gonna connect him back into football, which we both know what that storyline is gonna be.
He finna
Um,
coach.
he's gonna be a coach, and then he's gonna get inspiration from Montez and Billy, and they're all gonna rally around him. Okay, yeah, that's about yeah.
Which, sorry, audience, this is something I forgot to bring up, but earlier on Twitter, Amanda and I were just like, we're gonna see how many of our predictions just over the course of last season into this season have come true. I think we both predicted number one, or at least I know I did at some point, that Patience and Coop would have some relationship issues.
Yes, yeah, we
We
both
both
predicted.
predicted that, and I think we both predicted like Asher would be on this coach journey thing,
Yes,
which
and we
it
predicted
seems
that
like it's
Coop
coming
was gonna
true.
be in a coma.
Right.
And then I predicted, I don't know if you did, that there was going to be a lung issue and it was going to mess with her
Oh
mind.
yeah. And that she was gonna, yeah, I think we both agreed like she's gonna have some trouble with music or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're like 3 for 3 on this.
Yes.
Um it's so we switch into to Layla next.
Okay.
It's her 18th birthday,
Yes.
and she sort of what we see immediately is that she is not really looking forward. Like she's like, "Don't remember it's my birthday. Don't remember
Hmm.
it's my birthday." As the baker, she gets downstairs. She thinks that they're not there, and then they sort of hop out and say,
They scared the crap
"Surprise!"
out of her.
They did. Her Greta's face was hilarious, and I'm gonna note it. I'm gonna say it. Greta's facial expressions, I feel like have stepped up a notch, and I think that's due to her like Layla this season getting meteor material. Like, uh, we all know last season it felt like she was sidelined a bit, like she was just paired with Coop. They're at Slosson's or talking about music. Like that's mostly what we had seen of her, and so she didn't really get a ton of stuff apart from the whole Spencer and Olivia deal. But now I feel like she's getting more. She's getting more to work with, and I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, her facial expression was hilarious because they surprised her. The bakers were tripping.
They were, but then it was cute. So I had
It
two
was cute
feelings.
tripping. It was good to see them. It reminded me of like season one bakers, like doing the
Yes.
most.
They were doing the most and they were trying to make her feel as if, as Liv said later, loved. Like we're gonna we're gonna do your birthday like
Yeah.
you would want to do your birthday, even though considering what you went through. So there was cautionary parts where
Right.
they were like
Right.
catching hints.
Right.
But Laura making the pancake,
The
which
L-shaped
the
pancake,
L-shaped
which
pancake, which Jordan said you flip it.
parallels.
Jordan said you flip it and it's for Jordan. And he gives the goofiest expression while he's playing with this plate, pancake on
It
the plate.
was
When I tell
hilarious.
you I loved it because he looked
The
so hilarious.
antics, the buffoonery of that scene, it was amazing. And like Laura, like, basically telling him to chill out, like subtly, and like
Yes.
Billy just doing the. It was really funny. Well, and the other thing that was funny is, to your point, is that she usually makes a big deal about her birthday, and we know
Right.
that because she was
She's a
just like, "Oh, I
favorite.
don't want to make a big deal this year," and Jordan and Olivia go like, "Why? Why? Like that's new, basically."
Yes, since when? Like they were like, what?
Exactly, exactly. And so the whole episode, it's been Layla sort of just still on eggshells. Like they surprised her at the locker, the whole gang. Which, by the way, it's so good to see Beverly's school again,
First
and them at
time.
school. I was just like, we're in an alternate universe. We haven't seen school in so long. If it's
Not
not the
in
coach's
Beverly.
office,
Yeah,
not if it's not the coach's office.
right.
And so it was good to see them just chilling in the hallway and doing normal kid things like decorating a locker and talking about like homeroom and all of that stuff.
Can I say
Um,
JJ,
yeah.
who was not there, did the most for her birthday, and I'm here for JJ. He did had the locker decorated, the homeroom desk ready. He was doing the
Well, they
most.
said that JJ had the idea for the JJ in the box, and that he did the homeroom thing.
Yes. And Simone was like, I had the idea to make sure JJ in the box had clothes on. I said,
Right,
you know what?
right. It felt very much like this part. Like JJ did a ton of. It was like JJ and Jordan
Hmm.
specifically, like went
Yeah.
all out. Um, and why Jordan like takes it a bit too far. Like you said, mentioned like the pinata, like the JJ in the box, the homeroom, the pinata, which was scary. Um, is that they said like she's thrown our party since basically forever, since the single
Hmm.
digits. And we know her as the party planner, but again, it was cool to see that's actually something that she did. Is like she made, you know, she made everybody's birthday nice for the most part over the course of growing up, and they wanted to return the favor. We're not bringing up season 2.
Yeah, they want. Yeah, we're not going to bring up season two, but they wanted to return the favor. But then Liv caught on to the hint that she doesn't, because she said, "I don't want a big party. I just want a dinner." And so Liv
Right,
tried to like downsize it. She was like, "Let's
right.
downsize it. Let's do what she asked."
And Simone too.
Yeah, and Simone, and they were just a little bit. And of course, Jordan and Asher was like, "Okay, yeah, right. We're gonna like make it small." But that's you didn't listen to the
Crazy.
girl. She said she wanted it
Exactly.
small, intimate.
They did not. They did not. So they went about planning their, as Jordan said, minuscule party. Meanwhile, Layla's getting lunch with her dad, and he gets her a tiara. And we know that like he's called her princess, since I think that's like the first words that he says on the show is princess.
Mm-hmm.
The character says on the show is princess, like, "Oh, I'm back," or whatever. Uh, and she's not thrilled with the tiara. She makes a joke about a scepter. But here's something that I caught the second time around, is that he said that, his 18th birthday party, his father took him to a gun range for his first time and treated him
Yes,
like an adult. And
yes.
I'm not even gonna lie, I missed that the first time around, and I thought it was cool that she went to a gun range, but I was like confused about it. And then the second time I was just like, oh, like her
Yeah,
dad.
it's a connection to that. Yeah, to that
Right,
very moment.
right. Well, to this moment. So the gun range is going to come back up at the end of the episode, but they're planning it, and she's just like, I just again still don't want to make a big deal about my birthday, and she's very just uncomfortable by like all of this attention. Um, a little aside, can we at least just mention Spolivia returning the pinata when they found it?
They try because Liv was like, "This girl does not want a pinata in which people hit her, a likeness of her. She doesn't want
Right.
that. Let's return it back." But here's what part I love. And then
The X.
yeah, Spencer was like, Spencer's like, we could get one of another. She's like, how about the ex? He was like, I wouldn't do Asher like that. And then she's like, how about my dad? I was like, how about I get one of all three? Can someone give me one of Spencer, Asher, and Billy? Like, come on. I wish somebody would.
Facts.
Give me one of
Because
all three of them.
Spencer self tried to act like he wasn't really his most recent ex. Sir,
No, you all
talking
get
about some
one.
Asher.
Yes.
Yeah, people, look, the audience done forgot that her and Asher even dated at this point.
He tried to pass it off. No, I want a pinata of all three of you so I can hit that sucker. Each one of them.
Facts. Well, and this is something that we we missed, but the little surprise in her locker. How dare they put a picture of Spencer and Asher in her locker?
Yes, they do have pictures. They just do not
I
care.
was just like, yeah, nah, nah.
No.
Um, but she took it all in good spirits and good strides. Um, and so anyway, yeah. So they return that. Basically, Jordan goes back to get it. Um, yeah, Jordan goes back to get it. There's like a surprise party. They have Butler dancing, chaos.
This boy came out of this box.
Like,
And
and
just
it's I just still can't like. And again, like he wasn't straight. He was dancing. He was dancing,
right.
but yeah, I was just like, this is just so odd. She was not hype about it
She
at
was
all.
not happy at all. It was so awkward. And I said, "This is so JJ." I said, "This is
Yeah,
so JJ." Jay was like, "We gonna make it happen. We go if I can't be there, we gonna turn it up some way somehow." And it was out of control. The look on Liz and Layla's face when he was dancing was out of control.
and it just continued because right, like Asher is sitting here hugging Layla, and she's like, "Why are you hugging?" She did not want to hug that man.
Yeah.
And then Butler tried to give her a hug. She was like, "No, let's do a little fist jab. Let's
Yeah,
do a
let's
little fist
do it.
jab."
But then JJ told her whole business.
Her whole business to everybody. Ridiculous.
Oh, JJ was like, "Listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and share." And
And it's that's trash, bro. That's trash.
mm,
JJ was out of pocket for that.
he was. Some people on Twitter said, "You know what? Liv did share. I'm sorry, Layla did share Liv's business. So
Oh
what's the
my
difference?"
gosh.
I'm just bringing up what Twitter said. That's what the Twitterverse said.
Well, first of all, I don't want to get into this conversation, but I will. First of all, JJ telling the entire school something that happened to Layla is not the same as Layla telling Carrie something and Carrie very obviously trying to drive a wedge. We already know that Carrie has had some issues, right? Given the most
That's
recent episode.
that
So
is
it's
so.
not
That's a nice way
far.
to say it.
Yeah, I know. It's trying to be nice. And so we know it's not far fetched that she like exaggerated like what was going on to
Yeah, I
drive a
pretty
wedge
much
between
agree
them.
with you on that. I pretty much
Um
agree with you on that.
and we already know she was trying to drive a wedge between them because she told her that Olivia didn't come by when she did.
Yes,
Um and yeah, so that's neither here nor there. So anyway, it was out of pocket. Two wrongs don't make a right.
cool.
Um and yeah. So you just get different people just like asking her if she's okay. I was really surprised that Simone was also one of those people.
First of all, Simone scared her again. I was like,
Yeah,
Simone,
it was weird.
I was like, this baby is jumping. Y'all stop? Everybody in Baker's, everybody stop jumping out at this young lady. Just be like, happy birthday. Just we
Exactly,
good.
just a
Just
normal a
just
normal thing.
because if I
A
was
normal
Lele,
thing.
I would have went off on y'all. Y'all kept jumping out at me like that.
I cannot with that nickname, bro. But yeah, and when we know the one person that they had be sort of normal about it was Spencer.
Okay, can I just tell you, I wasn't bored on this scene, but I wasn't entertained either. It gave whatever it was supposed to give, and that was
I
them.
wasn't bored. I was just it just felt like awkward to me. As it should.
As it should. It very much
As
because
it
even
should. It's supposed to be awkward.
yeah, even when he was like happy birthday and how he said happy birthday.
Yeah,
Because
like what are you doing? Sir,
he's
just talk
like
normally.
because think about it though. This is your ex birthday party
No, I
at
know.
your current girlfriend's birthday
Which
party.
Jordan, by the way, pointed out, trying to be
Right.
messy.
Trying to be messy. and you're your current girlfriend's date at your ex. It's just a lot of mess.
It's a lot of
A
mess.
lot of mess, and the mess I like. It's just I was like, this is good. Like
It's a
how
lot
y'all
of mess.
navigating this is beyond me. But
Yeah.
okay.
And he tells her to find somewhere to hide. And he was like, I don't like parties and I don't like surprises. I guess he meant like he doesn't like his own
Yeah,
parties.
because remember he didn't want to party when the Bakers tried to give
Yeah,
him one in
yeah,
season one.
yeah. He
Yeah.
definitely doesn't like his own parties.
And I think that has a lot
Th-
to do with his dad and abandonment issues, but that's a whole nother story.
right, right. But he definitely loves giving parties to other
Mm-hmm.
people.
Very much so.
Um, and so anyway, yeah, he tried to make her feel better. I personally would have liked to see somebody else have that conversation.
I do. I would have too.
But I understand that they have to like make this more cordial.
Yes, I would have preferred someone
Move
else
that,
to do
yeah,
that.
move that relationship forward. So I understood it. I understood it. I just wish you know how I feel. I'm like, why don't you get Laura in this scene,
Yeah, that's why I
please?
said I prefer Laura. Laura would have
I
been
prefer
great.
Laura, and it would have made sense. But whatever. I know that they had to fix that up. So Spencer tells her to go upstairs. Um, Layla goes into Liv's room. And you know why this is making more sense to me, Layla going to Liv's room, is because if she had hidden in her own room, people would have looked for her there.
Very much so. We knew what her room was, and so in Liv's room, no one's gonna look for her, but the person
Right.
who owns the room. And
Exactly.
Layla is there with her pianta, her twin pianta, sitting right there. In
Yeah.
the
She did, by the way though, she did like give it a little smile, even though she thought it was creepy. I
it
just like
is.
that she gave it a little smile.
She did. It was
My
nice.
little Jordan and Layla heart is singing.
Yeah.
I also loved seeing Jamone. I feel like I always have to add that like caveat there. But anyway, Layla and Olivia have a conversation. And as you mentioned earlier, it starts out with saying it starts out with saying it starts out with saying, um, let me start with this. I know for a fact that Sam did it for us. Sam did it for the Jordan and Layla stand.
What did she do?
Because she took a pause. She like paused and she really emphasized that
Oh,
line with he just wants you to feel
love.
loved. She paused at that thing.
You was like,
No, I
Sam gave it
watched
to
it.
us.
What'd you say?
I said, you were like, Sam gave it to us. She did it for us.
She did. She did it for us. She paused before she said he wants you to feel loved, referring to Jordan.
Right.
And she paused another time and then said, we all do. There was a very clear breakup there. I'm taking all the crumbs I can get.
I can't, and I love it, and I can't.
It's just because I was not expecting it to rise at this rate.
I can't.
But anyway, so they have a very lovely, I think, conversation about how Layla just didn't feel heard today. And this is actually funny because this is actually something we've mentioned about I don't know why I'm like I'm gesturing to you and I even though you're not in my room. But this is something that we've mentioned about Olivia, right?
Very much
Is
so.
that she says what she wants and people don't listen to her, and that was what this conversation was about,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? And because Olivia then tells her like, no, you made your feelings clear, and I was preoccupied with the drama with Spencer and my dad, which we'll go through in a second. Um, and she was just like, and you know, I should have seen the signs. And Layla's like, no, 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 it's okay. And she's talking about how she doesn't want to be selfish and doesn't want to seem ungrateful and things like that. And basically, Olivia ends that with saying, sometimes being selfish is necessary to protect your peace. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, the line felt preachy a little bit to me at
It
first.
did. It did. But it
But
was
the
also
second time around,
Yes, but it needed to be said.
Right, right. The second time around, it hit a little bit more because I'm like, it's true. It's
It
true.
it is because I said when I introduced somebody on Twitter today, I said, "Listen, if you need to block people for your peace of mind, block them. Do what you
Hmm.
need to do. Sometimes you just need to be able to guard your own peace, and that means you have to be selfish. You have to ignore people, but you also have to, in that same moment, allow people to know you need this moment. You need this
Right,
space." One of the
right.
things I loved about Liv was like, "We can end this party right now. I'll call the cops. They hate me
Because
anyway."
they hate me, they'll do it.
I
Right,
said,
right,
"You better fix your baby." Says, own the fact that the police can't stand you. She said,
right.
"Listen, I will sacrifice. They don't like
Well,
me.
and the other thing that I loved, and yeah, to see them joking around again because they have done it before. I'm just not adding that in there. To see them joking around
I'll
again
let you keep talking. Go ahead."
is that at the end when Olivia got passionate, she's like, "Yo, gotta learn to protect your peace," all of that stuff, and Layla's just like, "Oh, are you still talking to me?" Because she also knew that Olivia was referring to the drama that Billy had with Spencer and acting out of pocket and all that.
Yeah, that's not
Um,
drama that Billy had. That's Billy acting like a child. But
issues.
okay.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, yes, correct, correct. But that's what I'm saying. Like Billy bringing unnecessary drama and mess is like the drama that Billy had. Like Spencer has no issue. It's Billy.
Yes.
um, and so but Layla was just like, "Still talking to me?" Yes, yes. Go ahead and take that on advice, ma'am. And she's like, "I'm talking to the both of us." Um, and I'm just gonna say, go rewatch season 1 and 2 because they do have moments. Like,
Yes, she sees those moments. I don't.
shh, Monda, now you don't even pretend. Don't even
I
pretend.
see some of the moments. I just don't feel this friendship.
Thank you. Oh,
Like this,
but you
even this scene
acknowledge
was
that they have
cute.
had similar moments.
They may have. I'm gonna give you this. Even this scene, even this
Leaving me
scene,
out to dry when you know the facts.
like this scene itself was cute. It was cute. But will I ever accept this friendship? No, it's not gonna happen.
Shh. You're not ruining my vibe on this
I'm not
podcast. You're
ruining
not
your
boring.
vibe.
Nope, you're not gonna ruin the vibe. I
Yes,
love it.
I'm gonna
Was
let you
happy.
hold your friendship, and I'm gonna let you
Was
have your
happy for
friendship,
this little Olivia moment.
and I will guard you with everything that is needed if somebody comes your way. But here's the deal: I'm not getting down like that. Y'all know me by now.
And I know you. Yes, I
Yes,
do. I
I
do.
stay me at all times. Just saying.
And that's very true. That's very true. And you know, I stay me about this.
I know you do. That's why I said I'm gonna guard you at all times. I will guard you. I will protect you.
And so it was a cute moment between the two of them.
Yes. It was
And we
cute.
end that based on we basically end that they're packing up the party, etc. And Layla again sort of establishes her voice, which Olivia pointed out she did right last episode,
Hmm.
and how tough it was to tell her dad. And I think this is something that everybody's just like, that wasn't just excellent look at like telling your parents hard things, right? I don't feel safe in this environment.
Right.
Um and she takes another step and she's just like, please, stop calling me princess. And the reason why she was so bummed out, not even just because of everything that was going on, but because turning 18 reminded her about the childhood she didn't have.
And that's just that right
It
there was like,
was,
wow.
jeez.
I was like, wow. You
And
basically
it
told
makes
your
so
dad
much
he's an African
sense, right?
deadbeat in front of his face. But that's good though.
It's, yeah, it's good and it's excellent, but it's also just like very sad, right?
Hmm.
And to
Yeah.
see, everybody talk about like how much she did for them over the years and like trying to make their birthday special and all of that. And yeah, it was interesting, but took steps to tell her dad how she feels, and you know took steps to have him see her as an adult, right? Like
Hmm.
he said, like take her to the gun range, and he took her to the gun range, and it was a nice moment between the two of them. And it was interesting because they established like canonly, right, that Layla is an extroverted introvert.
Yeah, her mom. Yeah, like her mom
Right.
was.
I
Yeah.
too identify as an extroverted introvert. I very much need like regain energy when I'm by myself. Um, but it seems like I can be like lively and fun and so extroverts sometimes get confused.
See, and I call myself a forced extrovert because I'm an introvert
Mm,
through and through. But because the things
right.
I do force me out of my shell, including like my work and even me being on social media, because I can lurk and
Right.
not say anything, but I choose to engage.
Right.
But when I don't want to, ooh, I will shut everybody down and out for
Right.
days on end. So yeah.
Right. Right. So I love that there's a character that represents that out there.
Hmm.
Um and yeah, it was a good moment. And speaking of Jordan and Layla parallels,
Go for
you
it.
know who the the other person who had some daddy issues
Oh,
and wanted his daddy to view him as an adult and
one second,
respect him.
Lexi. Can we say
Hmm.
something? Because you and I highlighted this special relationship the first time you and I ever did a podcast together in episode
Right.
11. And
Right.
we talked about Jordan going to Spencer's house and seeing Billy there. And then you said they're gonna come back to the storyline. I said they're never gonna do it.
I was
And,
gonna
and I'm
say,
gonna give you your props. Sis, I'm giving you your props.
can we not to keep the competition going, but also sorry, this is something I forgot to mention on the predictions part. Is I also said by the third time
You did.
Layla sees Spencer and Olivia together,
You did say that. You
she's
did.
finna be fine.
You said that. You said that. I will give you both of those. I will give you both of those.
But yes, and but I also, this is something that we wanted to see. Like, it's not only something that I thought they were going to come back to, but
But
it's
we
something
wanted
that
to
we
see it. We
wanted
brought
to
it up.
see it because we
Yeah.
needed to
Yeah.
see it.
We needed to. It
Um,
was too obvious for us, you and I, when we were watching it, not to others, but
right.
we were like, oh, this is too much right here.
It's a problem. Well, and the other thing, it was all of his family like acknowledging this dynamic, and Laura touched on it in the last episode, but it was Olivia, Laura, and Jordan touching on this dynamic that he has had with Spencer
Hmm.
for the whole series, which was
Very
great
much
to
so.
see. Great to see. And yeah, I just think it's interesting that Mike and David chose to have these parallels between Jordan and Layla.
I cannot with you.
I can't help myself. I'm telling my own self why am I this way. Like I apologize in advance. Well, I'm
No,
not
this is a
sorry,
good
but
time. This is a good time.
also it's so funny to me.
It's such a good time. It's such a good
And I
time.
and I will say, sorry, before we get to this, I wish we had seen more of Simone. That made me think. Like she was only in 2 scenes, which is crazy.
Yeah, we should have seen more of her. But then we have to realize too that the actress is also
That they're
working with
going in the
other
direction of
stuff. Yeah.
Jordan and Layla.
Cannot. Note this, people. I don't cast Jordan with anybody because I want Jordan just out of the baker's house. Totally. So anybody who wants to take him can have him. Seriously. So yeah.
I don't. It's just there's so many endless jokes that I can make about this, and it's really making me happy, as you can tell. But anyway, to get on to the actual storyline, um,
Because Jordan asked his dad, says, "Why aren't you mad at me for training
right,
with Spencer behind your back?"
right.
That's how he
But
started.
yes,
Oh,
but before we get to that, I think
yeah.
it's important to set the stage a little bit because
Mhm.
as we mentioned at the top, like uh, um, Spencer and Olivia were together, hanging out, making out. It was really cute. I'm gonna sprinkle some gifts on over here. And and sexy also, right? The little butt grab, as Chelsea
Oh,
tweeted out.
it was more than sexy, sis. It was more than
More than
sexy.
sexy.
Yes, because even
It
Chelsea
was
said
funny.
that ass.
It was.
Yes. They were shaking tables. They was
They
kissing.
were.
They were
They were. It
rubbing.
was very. It was aggressive. It was
It,
aggressive,
it was
and also
aggressive in a
comical,
good way.
Yeah, that's
It
what I'm
was.
saying. It was hilarious. The pillow,
I wanted
literally,
to be
so funny.
to be honest, I wanted to see more. I did. I did.
Wanted to see more.
Yes,
I
not
too. I was just like I just it was like so unexpected for me. I was just like, oh,
yes.
okay,
I didn't
yes.
need
Well, because everybody had been arguing like whether
where
it
did she
was
was
the new flashback, right?
right,
Are those her pants? Is that a pillow? And I was just, is she
right.
on top of him? And
Is
she
she
was on
leaning
top
over
of him.
him? Yes,
She
all of
was
that.
on top of him.
She was on top of him, door open, no shame whatsoever, kissing this man down. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Because as you say all the time, Olivia Baker loves to kiss.
Loves to kiss. My sister would grab her face and kiss somebody, particularly if it's her
She
boyfriend.
will.
She don't
She
care.
will.
She
She
will.
will.
She will.
So yes, it was a great moment. Great moment. Great introduction. And like I said, she was upset. She was just like, I can't, avoid my dad forever. Like, we're never at my house anymore. She
She
didn't
did
sound
not
like
say it
that.
like
I
that.
know,
Don't
I
you
know, I know,
dare.
I,
Don't you dare. She said if you wasn't talking,
I know,
she said
I
if you were
know, I
talking to my
know.
dad, then we could go over to my house. The thing is, sis forgot she got a whole Lele over there. I was like, so you just go dry humping from
Did
the
she
Lele?
forget?
Come on, come on.
Did she forget? I don't know if she forgot.
I
I
don't
think
think
she
she
was more
cared.
concerned about. I don't think she cared. I don't think Layla. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think she cared.
Yeah.
Um, and so she was just like, I miss watching dumb movies with you, which we love that. We love that the dumb movies are back.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, the cute little moment about him needing a minute
I
or two.
I love the fact that like they even the playful wrestling over the pillow, like that's the
Right.
part
I
that
love
I
that
want to
moment.
see. I
Yeah.
want to see that they actually are in love and that they they have the fun times in the moment because I really want him to pull her back over the couch and start kissing her again. I kid you not. I was like, let's keep going. Why we ending this section of the area? But that's okay though. Yeah, yep,
Right. Right. Right.
loved it.
But anyway, they start talking about Billy.
Love everything about it.
And right. And she's just like, um can you talk to my dad? He obliges after she,
Nibbles him
kisses him.
down.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nibbles him down.
Um, exactly. Exactly. And so the rest of the episode is about her trying to get this thing resolved because she's just like, why is her father being a jerk in my little
Hmm.
PG terms? Why is her father being a jerk? You know, it's Jordan's fault, right?
Hmm. Very
It's
much so.
Jordan's fault that this thing is happening anyway. It's all his fault.
Hmm.
All his fault. I don't know if I would agree with
We
all of
both
his
don't
fault,
agree with
but
that, but hey, listen, homie, we gonna do this.
but she finna stick beside him. She
She
finna
gonna
stick
stick
beside her
beside him
man.
even if it was wrong because it was both their faults. But that's okay, sis.
Exactly.
I see
She
you
said,
taking
"That's
the
my
right
man.
step.
I'm a stick beside him,"
I see
and
you.
as she should, as she should.
As she
Um,
should.
and so he ends up. She's just like. They're having several conversations over the course of this episode. They're talking about the party later, and Spencer asked her. This is a funny moment. Spencer asked him if there's gonna be strippers there.
Because they told him to bring some wine.
Cause like exactly.
He's like, it's gonna be some strippers at this party. She's like, no. He's like, do you know that for sure? She's like, no.
Mm-mm. I do not know it for sure. And so they have that conversation. Billy looks past Spencer once again, but again she's just like, I just can you, pick me up? Which this boy doesn't have a car, but she's like, can you meet me at my house?
I think here's the deal. I think this is what I think because the writers don't tell us much of anything. Either
Mhm.
two things happened. He either had Grace's car while she's at work, or he finally just went and got Corey's car.
Mm. Well, the other thing is, rewatched that scene in particular, and she specifically said, "Meet me at my house."
Yeah, he met her, but then when she went to go talk to Jordan, she said Spencer dropped me off.
Oh,
Yes, she did.
Spencer, step it up.
Yeah, she said Spencer dropped me off, but he didn't come in. Yes, those were her exact words. So he
Well,
either
I
had
guess he has a
Grace's
car
car or
now.
Corey's car.
All those shifts at the hangout finally paying off.
Spencer got some wheels.
You got some money now.
Ooh.
And so yeah, so he um yeah, so she, like we said, she talks to Jordan. Um then what she says to Jordan, right, makes him think about the fact that Billy really hasn't come at him, right,
Mm-hmm.
as hard. Like he hasn't, that Billy is still talking to him and all of that, and he's not talking to Spencer.
And the
Um
precious is that about it? Yeah.
and before we get to that part, I thought it was interesting because we ended the episode and he was really, really cold to Spencer, and none of us appreciated that, and we all thought it was too much. This was another scene that was just like too much, right? Is that he
Mm-hmm.
said, um, because Spencer said, "Are you freezing me out?" And he said, "I'm not freezing you out. I was your coach, and now the season's over."
And Spencer said the one thing I knew Spencer was going to say: "You were more than the coach to me,"
Right.
which was exactly true. So you moved him into your house. He was more than just your football
It was
player.
just like, wow, like seriously, dude, like it. Yeah, it was wild, and neither Spencer nor Olivia nor anybody else was happy about that. Um, and as they shouldn't be. And so anyway, Jordan talks to him, and as we said earlier, is that, listen, he eats Billy up.
Eats him down. I say, you know what? I am here for it, Jordan. I am here.
Not only is Spencer your son, he's your favorite child.
Child.
I'm saying child.
He said, he said your favorite son, but
No,
child.
no, yeah.
He admitted, he said you quit your job to coach with him at Crenshaw. You moved him
Thank
into
you.
our
I've been
house.
trying to say this whole time.
He said you've done all of this. And then Billy questions says, "Do you think I love Spencer more than you?" He said, "But you respect him more." I said,
Right.
baby. Jordan said, "I'm about to get it all off my chest."
Exactly. And then he tells Spencer that he chews out his dad, and Spencer's like, "Oh, you can't do your pops like that." What? Spencer always trying to say, like, let people eat this man up.
Let people feel how they need to
It
feel.
let people. That is a good point. So maybe his savior complex isn't manifesting itself in like overt, like, I need to save people, but maybe it's gonna manifest, maybe not, but maybe it's gonna manifest in him like telling people like to do different things, like what, like with patience, right?
Yes.
With patience, telling her, "Oh, we gotta be there for Coop," etc., etc. You know what I mean? And so it's just like Jordan was perfectly within his rights to say that to his father.
He needed to say that to his father like over and over again and put that sucker on a recorder and make sure that he played it every morning so he heard it. Like over
Exactly.
and over again.
And then the interesting thing is he was just like, "Oh, you would have said the same thing to me if it was me and my pops." And I'm like, he wouldn't have, though. He would
He
not
wouldn't have
have.
because you
If
also
there's one
wouldn't
thing that Jordan wouldn't have done, it was do that.
that and plus he wouldn't give Jordan the space to do that.
Exactly.
He wouldn't. He been like this. My relationship, with my dad. You don't understand, but yet you go tell
Exactly.
Jordan how to feel when Jordan has
Exactly.
been feeling this for a moment, and it's all been bubbling up as he reminisce around it. You know what it would
And
make all of this messy if
what?
FGW was there when all this was happening.
Oh yeah, that would have been too much mess
I would
for
have
me.
loved it.
It would have been too much mess for me. But the other thing is, like, I don't think what Jordan said was disrespectful.
It wasn't.
And maybe I'm
It
just
was
like a new
truthful.
age, maybe I'm just young or whatever it is.
No, it
But
was truthful.
I don't think it was disrespectful at all. He said, not only is he your son, he's your favorite son. And then, like, you don't respect me. And I think all of that is true. And then Billy lied to him and said, there's no one I respect more than you,
No. He
sir.
said you and your sister, the little lying little fool. He's
Lie, but lies,
better
lies.
lie.
And Jordan apologizes after talking to Spencer or whatever, and he's just like, "The reason I didn't come to you," which, sorry, I should we should back up for a second, because after Jordan eats Billy up, then Spencer has his little turn to
Mm.
eat Billy up after they meet each other
And I needed
at the
Spencer to say
party.
more than that.
I needed him to say more to that too, but he wasn't trying to make a scene at Lila's party.
I need him to make a scene some other time because he needs to tell him more. Mm.
Facts, facts. But Liv is again like, I love you both. Yes, she snuck that in there. I love you both, and if you love me, you'll work this out. And Billy's just like, oh, we don't gotta talk, do we? And then Spencer says what he says. The interesting thing for me is I really thought that Billy was gonna be hesitant to
Listen.
to listen, but he actually leaned in, which I thought was interesting. And
Leaned
I just
in
wanted to
just to be
know.
told him that you ain't nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and I thought it was really interesting that he leaned in that moment. And I want to, I don't know, the writer slash actor in me just wants to know if that was an acting choice or if that was written in the script.
I think it was written. I think it was actor's choice.
Yeah, I think it seems like something
Yeah,
Tay would do.
yeah. I think it was
Um,
actor's choice.
and so anyway, it was just interesting, and basically Spencer said, "Oh, what I want to know is like, why didn't he feel like he could come to you, Coach?"
And the way he said, "Coach, baby," I said he
Eating
really
that man
pushed you out.
up.
I said
He was
he pushed you out with
speechless.
the name Coach. But I wanted him to give more to it. But I hope there's like he has down the line an opportunity to share.
Same. But he didn't need to give more to it, because that whole thing, through the whole party, he was scowling and pouting and doing whatever, because Laura eventually comes up to him.
My favorite
Um,
person. One of my
right.
favorite people.
Yes, same here. And she's just like, something else that we said should come up,
Yes,
apart from this whole Jordan
we
Jordan
did.
and Doc talking about his son thing, is us saying that Billy treats Spencer like he's an adult.
Yes, we both said that. Yes.
And it came up, and I'm so glad it came up.
Yes, and Laura was like, "Listen, you have always treated Spencer as if he's adult because he grew up fast
Right,
than others." hmm
right, right. And it says, yeah, like it's hard not to see him that way because of that. But both you and Spencer and Jordan have done similar things. You both rushed to get back to football, or all three of you rushed to get back to football after going through injuries.
So
In a
basically, get
nutshell,
over yourself.
exactly. Get over yourself, and that was an important conversation to have. And again, like we said, he talks to Jordan later. He's like, it's not that I don't respect you, blah 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 blah. You're a man. You chewed up my defense. All of that stuff. But Jordan leaves him on this. He's just like, so all three of us are good, me, you, and Spencer. And Billy is still sitting there, sort of pouting and doing whatever, as Olivia and Spencer say, you know what? Screw all of this, right?
He's gonna have to accept us,
He might not have to accept me, Spencer,
right?
but he finna accept us.
And can I say this? My fictional
What?
baby sis was kissing on her man while her mama and daddy was watching, and she didn't care.
Bold. Well, that's why she said we could go to Miles, because these Beverly Hill parents, they don't
She
get.
don't care. She kissing this man down, and her mama cleaning up, and her daddy watched from the poolside. And she said, "Listen, I'm going to kiss you in front of them." And she never did that with the other man, but she definitely did it with Spencer's. Like, look, you already lived in this house. You had a key to this house, so you
She did. I think she did it once with Asher.
know, in front of them.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't recall
'Cause-
that. I choose not to. So we're gonna. But
but still, the thing was, it was like good. They're getting back to watching movies, and they're worried about them.
and it was a beautiful moment. Like I
Right.
was like, I love the kiss. It was beautiful. It was sweet. What I was mad at
I love the callback to what dumb movie we're watching tonight.
yes.
I love that.
But I hated that they cut it to Billy. I wanted to see more kissing and snuggling on the couch. Forget Billy and his scouring behind. Go back to the teens on the couch.
You
Like that's
gotta
what I
end it on
wanted
a
to see.
down moment. You gotta end it on a down moment. That's TV.
You know what? I wasn't here for that. I wanted the coloring and the snuggling. I wanted it all. I really did.
Yes, but it was cute.
Particularly because I'm going to say this: as you gave support to Greta and her facial expressions,
I
I'm
also
going.
gave support to on
Yeah,
Twitter. Like
it's
I
not.
gave support to
Yeah,
both. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Jeffrey Nolan. Yes, I'm about to
Well,
give.
no. I was saying Sam. Sam. I gave
Yes,
support to
yes,
Sam.
Sam. I'm about to give some props to Sam and Daniel.
Right.
They took their
Both of
scenes,
them.
both
Yes.
of them. They took them scenes from the beginning and to the end and said, "I'm going to give the fans what they want
Right.
in every
Well,
sense of the word."
yes, and it felt very reminiscent of just the Olivia, the Spencer and Olivia that we most of us have come to
Thank
know
you.
and love.
Most of
Um,
you have come to know and love. The thing is, their chemistry is so crazy. That's
it
like a
is. It
genie
is.
in a bottle type of chemistry. Like
Right.
you have to own on to that. Hold on
Right.
to it.
And
Let
to
them
and to
explore it.
and to start the episode out with it and end on it and have
Yes.
our little sprinkles all throughout was great. And the just like them talking about the pinata, yeah, inserting their
Yes. It's just the
gifts all
funny,
throughout this.
yeah, the funniness of it. I love that this episode.
Comedic Spolivia was back and we loved it.
Yes, I love the fact that we got them acting as teens, seeing them in the school. See the black team intimacy is everything for me. Everything.
Right.
Because I shocked some people when I said that I wanted to see more on the timeline. They thought my account was hacked. And I was like, have you not been following me? Like seriously, that's all I say over and over
Right.
again.
Right.
I want it. I want to see that every day, like lovingness. Like I want to be near you. Before we
Right.
get down the line when they start fighting and Liv clear the room. So I want to see.
We're ending on them being happy.
I
And
want to
that's what
see.
I
Right.
was just happy that they were happy. And I was
Yeah.
happy to see because this is something that I've wanted to see as being Olivia Baker number 1, like favorite character miles beyond others is something that I've personally wanted to see is Liv being happy, and not to say
Yes.
that she hasn't been happy before, but like her being happy with the person that she wants,
Mm-hmm.
and she really wants Spencer, and to see her with someone that she truly wants, and has wanted from the jump is great, great for her. And I was just like, I'm so happy,
I was very happy
my
for her.
girl is happy, y'all.
I was very happy for her because as an Olivian, not a Spolivian, an Olivian, I'm like, my sis is so happy right now. I said she was all the way grown, but she was happy. She's very happy.
She definitely was. She
She
was
was all the
like,
way
boy,
grown.
don't be worried about your
Yo,
mother
mom,
coming through this door.
I'm right here. Don't worry about her. I'm right here.
She definitely made her presence known.
You know what I say in 318? She put it on him. She put it on him this time too. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, she don't play.
Thanks for listening to Film Study, an All American podcast. Stay tuned for our predictions.